What's good? It's your boss, International Zoe, here in Medellin, Colombia. I'm with my brother Smitty. You know, we've been hanging out the whole time. He need a little temper taper, and I figured, well, we might as well talk and get to know the brother a little bit, fellow traveler in the game. So, Smitty, where you from?
From Baltimore, man.
B-Mall, what part?
Shoot, I grew up all over Baltimore, basically northwest side.
Northwest side. Is that close to D.C.?
Yeah, about 30, 35 miles away from D.C.
How much similarities, I know they call it the DMV, is in between Baltimore and D.C.?
There's no, even the music is different, man. They listen to go-go music.
Oh, so y'all don't rock with the go-go?
No, we don't know. No, we got house music in B-More.
Okay.
House and rap, you know? Okay. We don't mess with go-go. No, that's a DC thing.
The tempo, you want it skin, close?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that. I thought maybe y'all would be, are you keeping the sideburns or no?
No.
Okay.
And then, you know, they Redskins fans, and, you know, we Baltimore Colts and Baltimore Ravens fans.
Right,
so, I mean, and we got Orioles, they got the Washington Nationals.
Okay.
And then they stole our basketball team. It used to be the Baltimore Bullets before it became the Washington Wizards. So you know, little animosity there, but you know, we it's totally different, you know, swag and the whole nine. So.
Okay, good to know. So you told me that you was in the military. So how'd you get to the military?
I needed some change, man. I joined right out of high school, bro. As soon as I turned 18, 3 days later, I was gone.
And that was just by your own decision?
Yeah, I needed to get away, man. People was dropping like flies around me.
The violence.
Yeah. Uncles, cousins getting locked up, killed and stuff. I had to make a change, man. I had to, you know, cut off that vicious cycle, you know.
Right.
I had to get away.
And what branch of the military did you decide to go and why?
I went into the Army, man. And I went in the Army because I only went in for 2 years initially. And they offered me the most money to go back to college. So I actually went in for 2 years.
Right.
I got a curtailment of 3 months. So I only did 18 months in my first 2 years, and I came back and went to Morgan State. And then my ex-wife hit me up telling me she was pregnant, like a year into my studies. So I went back into the Army, man, and got married, and we kind of, you know, had 3 kids together.
And around what year was this?
This was 1990.
90. Okay. And so how was it being in the Army and your wife was in Baltimore?
Well, she was in Texas. She was in Texas. She was a dependent of somebody in the military.
Oh, okay.
So she was, you know, she already was accustomed to that life.
That lifestyle.
Yeah. So that's how I met her. I was stationed in Texas.
Okay, you were stationed.
And I met her at Fort Bliss, which is on the other side of the border from El Paso. It's in El Paso, Texas, but on the other side of the border from what's the name of that city? Juarez, Mexico.
Okay.
So we used to go to Juarez every weekend, man.
Party?
Yes, sir.
How was it?
Sir, it's nice, very nice, extremely nice. You had to worry about, you know, all this violence, getting kidnapped, Americans, and all that stuff. Used to stay the night there. We weren't supposed to, but we used to stay the night. The thing was, you know, you're supposed to go and come back the same night.
Right.
But you know, a few of us broke the rules.
You had so much fun, you had to stay.
Yeah.
So, you get married, you got three boys. So what happens in your military stay then?
In Texas?
Are you still in Texas or you?
No. So I got out the military.
Okay.
Came and went to Morgan State, and when she hit me up, she was pregnant with my oldest son. You know, I grew up without my dad.
Right.
He passed when I was 10, so I had always made a promise to myself.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna be there for my kids, my seeds, you know.
Right.
So she came to Maryland, and once she got to Maryland, you know, I went back to the recruiter, joined. My first assignment was Panama. 3 years, 1990 to 93.
So your family stays home and you go alone?
No. I took them with me. She came with me.
Okay.
Matter of fact, my second son, my middle son, he was born in Panama.
Wow.
He was born in 91. My first son was born in 89.
So how does that happen? Does he get a dual citizenship or
Yeah,
something?
he has a cedula, a Panamanian cedula, and he has an American birth certificate. He was born in Army Hospital.
Okay.
But, you know, anything military overseas is considered U.S. territory.
Right.
So it don't matter where you are in the world, Germany, Philippines, as long as you're born on a U.S. military installation, you're an American citizen.
Okay.
But because, you know, in Panama, he's a dual citizenship.
Right.
Dual citizen.
Nice.
So I can buy property in his name if I wanted to. It's the same when I was telling you that I already got 2 properties.
Right.
My middle son. So.
Right.
And then of course my ex-wife, she's half Panamanian, so she has a cedula as well.
Oh, she just happened to be half Panamanian?
Yeah, she half Panamanian, half Puerto Rican. Her mom's Panamanian. Matter of fact, her mom and dad was stationed in Panama with us. They came after us actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we had you know, babysitters, you know.
Right.
So we was rolling. We had fun, man. Her and I, we just grew up together. We grew up together, her and I, man. We got married young and stayed together for 22 years and moved on.
Right. So you said that was your first wife, so you ended up getting married again.
Yeah, I got married again in 2015 actually.
2006. So yeah, that's kind of recent.
Yeah, recent.
And where did you meet your second wife?
Dominican Republic.
Oh, you're just an international type of guy, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you married there because you were.
I was
what were you
living
doing
there. I was living there. I retired from the military in 2013, and
Right.
Instead of going right directly into the workforce out of the military, becoming, you know, a civilian,
Right.
I decided to take a year off to kind of demilitarize myself. And so all of 2014, I was in Puerto Plata, living in Puerto Plata. Bought a car, leased a spot for a year. I just traveled the country, man. I've been all over the country.
What is it that you like about DR?
The freedom. I mean, you don't feel.
Panama.
Well, it's been so long since I've been to Panama. I don't want to make that comparison, but I'll make a comparison to the United States. Is that you feel free, man. You don't feel constrained by a bunch of laws and regulations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still fairly safe, you know, without all the extra brouhaha, you know. So, and then of course the weather,
Right.
you know, the people are beautiful. They'll bend over and, you know, help you however they can, just like, you know, kind of where we at right now.
Right.
It's all gravy.
So where else have you been in the world? And did your love for travel come from being in the military, or?
Yeah, I would say that initially that was it. So yeah, the military had taken me all over the place. Lived in Korea for 2 years. Lived in Puerto Rico for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've done, you know, my tours to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in Bosnia, Herzegovina.
Mm-hmm.
Germany.
So you definitely well traveled. When traveling with the military, how different is it than traveling just on your own? Do you get to really explore the country and have time to really explore, or are you mostly working?
No. So if you're not there, if you're not, you know, overseas for a war, and you're like physically stationed, like there's a lot of people stationed in Italy and Germany. I mean, their life is the same as if they were living in the States.
So are you there just to protect the U.S.'s
Interest. I would just say U.S. interest. It depends on what your job is too.
Right.
I mean, because you could be stationed in Germany, but your job is focusing on, you know, stuff that's going on in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Close.
Yeah,
Right.
you just in that region. You know, it's a regional thing. Just like, you know, people that are or military service people that are stationed in, say, the Philippines.
Right.
Their focus ain't protecting the Philippines. The interest is, you know,
Right.
China.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? It's a regional thing. Just like the folks that are in South Korea, like I was, their focus is, you know, they're deterrent to the North Koreans. coming to invade South Korea. So it depends on what the mission is and where you're stationed.
And maybe you're looking out for the allies of America.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of people stationed in Tampa right now. Their focus is not, in Tampa. Their focus is Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends, man. It depends.
And how long does your station last? Or when you get stationed somewhere?
On average, I would say 3 to 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 to 4 years is on average. Like I had when I was in Panama, my initial tour was for 3 years, but I had the opportunity to extend for the additional 3.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had gotten promoted while I was there, they didn't have my slot available anymore.
Right. So you didn't want to go down to stay. No,
I had to go, and it was for the best because I wound up being stationed in Kentucky.
How do you feel? How do people feel, or military people feel? Because do you have say in where you get stationed?
Yeah, you get you give them a couple choices, and then they try to appease you.
Right.
Sometimes they can't, but
right.
I mean, the more rank you get, the more say you have in where you go.
Right. So you lived in DR. You married a Dominican woman. Second marriage. And now you're back to traveling again, it seems like. And what are you currently doing that you're able to travel? If you don't mind sharing, I mean, that's up to you.
I work for an energy company,
mm-hmm.
and because of the coronavirus, I've been working from home since March.
Right.
And I got word, earlier this month, that we're not physically going back to the office until no sooner than May, but it looks like I won't be going back until next October. And when we do go back, they're telling us it's only going to be, 1 day in the office and then 4 days from home. So when it was actually the reverse prior to COVID, I was working 1 day. I was still working 1 day from the house,
mm-hmm.
and then 4 days at work.
Right.
So what my company found out is that, there's been no decrease in work productivity these last few months. So they looking at it as an opportunity to save money on all these buildings that they leasing to occupy people.
I've heard the same thing over and over again. Like companies are like, man, we're not going back there.
Yeah. So the coronavirus forever changed, a whole lot of things, man, how we do business. So it's all good. It's all good.
Right. Out of every tragedy comes some triumph.
Yeah.
It's definitely made people expand their horizons. Forced to, but definitely made them start looking at things different.
Sure.
So you're going to use the opportunity to do some travel.
Yeah, so look, this is my plan, man. I had a 5-year plan when I got married, and I was supposed to be going back to DR next month. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to be done this year. I was going to retire.
Right.
But now retire.
Totally.
Because I already retired once.
Right.
So now it's looking like, since I have this freedom, it don't make sense for me to give up, this paycheck.
Right.
This year and go ahead and go back to DR. So I'm gonna stay on the books and get this loot.
Work remotely.
Yeah, work remotely and still do my thing.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna retire around this time next year. I'll have 5 years with the company in September next year. So sometime between September and December next year, I'll hang it up and go do my thing, my real thing.
And what's that?
Go live on the beach somewhere.
Right, somewhere.
Somewhere.
Anyone,
in the tropics. Yeah, in the tropics. I mean, DR's still at the top.
Okay.
DR's still at the top. I mean, I'm buying property there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do some investments there, possibly here in Colombia as well. I'm looking in, South Florida, and even Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Rico's a gold mine right now. People just don't know.
Really?
It's a gold mine.
Why you say?
Because you get a nice property for under 150. Actually, you can get a nice property under 100.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a program for U.S. citizens that haven't lived there in 6 years, or have never lived there, where you don't have to pay federal taxes or state, quote unquote, state tax. They got an agreement with the IRS.
For a certain amount of time, or just?
No, it's forever.
Is it because of the conditions that they've been in lately?
It's always existed. It's just been renewed, and it's
okay.
being more it's been emphasized right now because they need a lot of, they want to inject some tourism into it. In their economy and stuff.
Right.
And there's an opportunity over there to kind of. They also have a business tax exemption thing over there as well. I forget what it is. I think it's Ley 2122, and Ley in Spanish. It's Ley. Ley in English means law.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
You gotta do your research on it. Check it out. You get a personal income tax credit as well as a business one. And a lot of people, like a lot of digital nomads, are going in now for the business thing.
Right.
Get that business tax exemption.
I've been to hold on, let me get back. I've been to Puerto Rico quite a few times, and it doesn't have the same effect on me as DR and other places. I don't know, it didn't have that draw to me. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't, I was always there, visiting, but I don't know, I felt like it still would probably be a little too Americanized.
Depending on where you go. Up north, close to San Juan, yeah, it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you got the Atlantic Ocean up there. But if you go down south to Ponce and places like that, right by the Caribbean Sea, you get better beaches.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go out west to Aguadilla, it's nice out there. Even if you go east towards Luquillo or Ceiba, it's nice out there as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too. We forgot to mention that.
And then they have 2 other islands too that you can visit that belong to Puerto Rico.
What's that?
Culebra and Vieques.
Vieques, I heard of it.
Yeah, Vieques and Culebra. I've been to both. Very nice place.
Are they very small islands?
Yeah, small, very small islands, but very nice, beautiful beaches.
And how did you get your Spanish so good? Was it both of your wives or?
No, mostly my second wife. She didn't speak any English.
No English.
My first wife is American.
So
she grew up in the Bronx.
So how much Spanish did you know when you met her?
Oh, I knew quite a bit because the 3 years I lived in Panama, but I also took a couple college courses. Mm-hmm. But the proprietary or the most of my Spanish I learned was immersed on that first year. It was like I had no choice. I was living in the country and I had to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So it had nothing to do with women.
Right.
It was all about, conducting business on a daily basis.
Right.
And that's how I learned. I learned basically most of my Spanish in 2014, and then I met her in 15. And when we started communicating, I had no choice to if I really wanted to, this woman in my life, I had to up my game.
Right.
So. And then we married for the last 5 years, so we're in the house every day speaking Spanish. Her son speaking Spanish,
Right.
She's on WhatsApp talking to all her family in Spanish. When we go to DR and visit, we're in Santo Domingo. There ain't that many Americans or, English-speaking people there, so I had to adapt, bro.
Right. That's dope, though. I see it. Definitely pays off, and I'm trying to figure it out, what's going to be my best way to get it down,
Right.
I'm a little lazy on the Duolingo. It hit me up today, reminding me that I haven't studied in a while, and I clicked it off.
Immersion is the best way, man. And
living there, right?
Yeah, living there. You got to be immersed in this, and then don't be in the tourist areas,
Right.
That's going to force you to. If you don't live in a tourist area, it's going to force you to do something that ordinarily it would take you 2-3 years to do. You're going to get it in like 3 to 6 months.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's what Prestige said. He moved to a certain area here in Colombia, and he was forced to my Spanish. He moved in the area. There wasn't too many, none pretty much English speaking people. Yeah. So what else is on your bucket list? Like, where else would you like to go? I mean, there's a lot of places.
I wanna check Brazil out. I've never been to Brazil. I wanna go to Belize. I wanna go to Honduras. Curacao. I'm gonna hit Curacao up. Grenada. St. Martin. You know, a couple. I want to go to Portugal. Never been there, but I'm hearing good things about it. Cost of living is supposedly very nice. And I want to go to Spain. I've never been to Spain. So that's it. I mean, I'm not too. I like the Caribbean, man. I like to stay in the Caribbean islands. South Central America, and just Latin America in general. That's my thing, man. I mean, I won't mind visiting Thailand or Philippines either. There are great things about those areas as well. Never been.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I'm not a big proponent on long ass flights.
Right.
Flights as long as I don't know what.
Yeah, there's no way to get around it, really. There's no way to get around it.
Yeah, but I mean, Cali is the salsa capital of the world, so we go.
How's your
We'll be
salsa?
getting in on it. My salsa's not as good as my bachata. It's okay. I dance bachata and merengue better than salsa, so. But it'll give me opportunity. Maybe we could take a lesson or two, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll be there on the weekend, you know, hit a couple spots and see what it do, you know. Might find a new spot, you know, visit instead of coming to Medellin.
Yeah, I think
straight to Cali.
Yeah, I think it's a very necessary
Yeah.
to explore more of Colombia.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've been to Medellin about 4 or 5 times already, and Cartagena as well. I did go to Barranquilla last February for Carnival, but I didn't really get. You know how I feel like you don't get to explore during an event.
Right.
So, you know, and I was only there shortly. But I would definitely be interested in you know, checking out Cali, and I'm glad that you're here. Your Spanish is good, and on top of that, I don't have to go alone.
Right.
So thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Hope you like the cut.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hold you down.